Lesson 15. Moving on. Inverse functions. Okay, inverse is doing the opposite. So it's going to have you mentally see if you can do a little coding, if you will. Solve the mystery of what letter represents what. So this first one, can you figure out what they did to the letters? You got it?
It goes back 3. Like, so if it was A, we put X.
Whoa. How did you
From
get
what?
this?
X?
There's no X or A in that.
So our original goes 3.
Backwards.
To go from this back to the original, it goes backwards.
So it says, today is a good day.
So it is today
I'm really
is
Yeah, I had to get that.
a good day. Impressed, Mr. Tulp? What made you realize that?
Because D has to be either A or I, and I didn't work, so I do A.
So D had to be one letter word in the English dictionary. You have two choices, I or A. You played around and tried I first, put an I in here, put an I in here. Didn't really work. Okay, how do you get from D to I? You'd have to count the letters. Then do that to all of them. It didn't work. So then you tried A. And said if D is A, you go back 3 letters in the alphabet. All right, A and then B, C, D. That's 3 letters away. If you do that to all of them, knowing that those are A, so what letter is 3 letters in front of W? So think of the alphabet. 3 letters in front of W is
How do you know it's 3 letters?
T.
Yeah, how do you figure out how many numbers meant how much you had to
From D to A. And then that was a pattern for all of them. So today is a good day is very good. Write a short and friendly message with 3 to 4 words. All right, we're going to do one together. We're going to say math is awesome.
I'm just kidding.
This is hard. This doesn't make sense.
Okay, now we're going to do our own coding. We're going to come up with our own pattern. It says pick a number 1 to 10 and code your message by shifting each letter that many steps forward or backwards. So 1 to 10, let's not do 1. Smaller number would obviously be easier to start. So is everybody good with 2?
To go back.
2 letters back. All right. So we're going to move all of ours 2 letters back. So here's our alphabet. So if I have an A, what's 2 letters in front of A? So you go back 2 letters. 1, 2. So that would be a Y. B back 2 letters. And then you'll see that everything is just shifted. So you write the whole alphabet. Okay, for letter C, it says give your encoded message. So let's just write the encoded message. So use your new letters and write math is awesome, following your cipher.
Oh, I get it.
What does this have to do with math, though?
It's having you think forwards and backwards, which is what you have to do for inverse. Do the opposite of something. Plus, it's just working on your critical thinking, Georgia.
I don't like that.
Make you think outside the box a little bit. Jordan, you got your code?
Yeah.
What do you got?
KYRFGQ.
Hold on.
Oh,
Okay.
GQ. YAC. QMK. C.
The U, or the A should be a U.
That should be a U.
Yeah.
All right, so Georgia, to answer your question, how do we get the first one? Well, this is what you looked at. You'd have to work your way backwards, figure out what the pattern is. So your pattern would be 2 steps forward from here, right? K becomes M, Y becomes R. If you're doing this one to code it, you go 2 steps backwards in the alphabet. Yep.
I understand like how you make the code, but like how did you figure that out at the first one? Like, how did
He
you
explained
figure
how he figured that out.
Because the D right here, like how did you even?
It had to be I or A. You tried I, it didn't work.
So then what if one doesn't have a, so like when we try to like code them, what if it doesn't have?
Well, then you're looking for letters that are the same. 4-letter words where the first 2 are, or the middle 2 are the same letter. Hopefully. Yeah, most of them are gonna have little clues to help you out. Yeah, I hope you have to do all the stuff we work on, Georgia. Question 2. Suppose M and C each represent the position number of a letter in the alphabet. But M represents the letters of the original message. C is the secret code. All right, so this is your message. This is your code. So what is your message? 4-letter word. So it wants it says it is the number that it is at in the alphabet.
Oh.
So 6th letter.
F. I. The 8th one is G. Sorry, H.
19th letter.
Ish. Oh, no, S.
S. All right, so our original message is fish. Okay, we're going to follow the same pattern that we did before. We said 2 letters back. So what would the numbers be 2 letters back? So instead of 6, it will be the 4th letter, right? Which is D. Instead of a 9, it will be the 7th letter. 7th letter,
Wait, G.
G. Instead of the 19th letter, it'll be the 17th letter, which is Q. Instead of the 8th letter, it'll be the 6th letter. So there is my new code.
Okay, that's easy.
Use M and C. That can be used to encode your original message. So what am I doing to M to get C?
-2.
You are subtracting 2, so my equation would show M minus 2 to get C. Now to get the opposite of that, that is to get C, that is to get my code. How do I get M?
C plus 2.
And those are inverse functions. And what do you have to do to get C? You subtract 2 from M. How do you get the other one? Well, you add 2 to the other letter. And that is why we're practicing with the code. Okay, we're going to skip the Are You Ready? Okay, a real life example of inverse functions. Okay, you're traveling to Mexico, and you want to know how much your dollars are worth in pesos. Every day the exchange rate changes, so I have so much money, how many pesos can I get? Inverse of that is now I'm coming back home, I have all these pesos, how much American dollars can I get from it? That would be the inverse of that. So American travelers heading to Mexico exchanges his dollars for pesos. At the time of his travel, $1 equals 19.32 pesos. Okay, our dollar has gone down a little bit in value, so it is not that high currently. It's like 16 point something now. So if you go to Mexico, it's gonna have like $193 on it, or pesos on it. That's $10. Just keep that in mind if you travel to Mexico at all. So $100. How many pesos can I get? How can I get that?
Times it 100,
Times what by 100?
19.32.
Yep. So 100 times 19.32. Can you do that in your head?
193.2. Oh, wait,
That would be times 10.
oh. Oh, 1,932.
1,932 pesos. Okay, how about $500?
Probably times, or put 1,932 times 5.
Yep, take that answer times 5 or 500 times that.
9,660.
9,660. So write an equation that gives a money amount in pesos as a function of dollars being exchanged. So I want amount of pesos. So if you had to tell somebody how to get the number of pesos, how would you describe, how would you give the equation?
Dollars times 19.32.
19.32 times dollars. It says to use D for dollars. You can write it next to each other. You can put a times there if you'd like. It means the same thing. Okay, now the opposite of that, the inverse of that. Now I have 1,000 pesos. Coming back home, how many dollars can I get from that? Now what?
Divide by 19.32.
Yeah, now you divide by 19.32. And if it doesn't come out perfect, they're going to give you to the nearest cent.
$51.76.
Okay, so if you see something marked 1,000 pesos, it is worth roughly $51.67. 5,000 pesos.
Times 51.
Take this one times 5. Or you can just run the function again.
$258.80.
$258.80. Okay, let's write the equation now. So here I was solving for a number of pesos. Now I'm solving for the number of dollars. I am taking the number of pesos divided by 19.32. One other thing I want to point out, input here is dollars. The output is pesos. And this is the exact opposite, the inverse of that. Your input, the number you're putting in is pesos. Your output, your answer, is dollars. Okay, so you can see where an inverse function would be helpful. Traveling to Mexico, how much is my money worth coming home? What is my exchange rate coming back? And again, that varies day to day. Okay, summary gives another good example there of an inverse. Taking a look at your homework. Question number 1. Talking about Noah's cousin, exactly 7 years younger than Noah. Let C represent Noah's cousin's age, N represents Noah. Write a function that determines the cousin's age. So that'll be C equals. And then you'll write the inverse function. So now we'd be concerned with Noah. Write the equation and then say what the input is, what the output is. Notice this one says years. Question number 2, it's going to start asking you months, so be careful there. Gives you another letter. So it switches gears, shows you some months. Couple ones here just to point out. If it wants the inverse function, okay, so what do you think the opposite of A is? Instead of solving for C, we're going to solve for what? We're going to solve for W. And what's the opposite of adding 3? Subtracting 3. So that would be the opposite. Let's try another one. Let's look at D. Instead of solving for W, I'm going to solve for D. And what is the opposite of dividing by 7? Multiplying by 7. So that's what they're looking for there. Switch the letters and do the opposite operation. 4, I think we can handle. 5, you're doing some sketches. There's going to be a lot of variation there, I would think, from person to person. 6, which kind of inputs work? Or no, which one doesn't work? Which one is impossible? 7, graphing. 8. I think you can handle that as well from lesson 14. So 1 through 8. And I think we talked about all the ones that we need to. So 1 through 8 for tomorrow. 250 to 253.